There is no way every week can be like last week. I refuse to accept that. If that is football going forward, then we are in trouble, because I can't remember the last time I've seen so many big favorites not only lose, but in some cases get absolutely stomped out. Like somehow Clint Kubiak has completely revolutionized that Saints offense. I'll take the L there because Dallas looked terrible. The Raiders outright win against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in Baltimore with Gardner Minshew at the helm. But we've got a lot of week 3 games to talk about. We don't have bye weeks yet. That means 16 games once again and a doubleheader for Monday Night Football. So sit back, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, enjoy, and let's talk some football picks for week 3. Hey, Dave Loughran here. Heading into this week, we've got some really good games. Some we don't like at all. Some I like quite a bit, and I'm going to let you know when we get to those. Hey, I like this spot a lot, or this is just a lean, or I'm not touching this game. Remember, too, tell me if you want, fade me if you want. Okay, that's fine too. But I'm giving you as much information as I can pull earlier in the week, including kind of all of the information you need to make educated decisions on your own, whether you're tailing or not. So let's dive into this one, and we'll kick it off with Thursday Night Football. The Patriots on the road against the Jets. Jets 6.5-point favorites, 39-point total in this one. Hey, this is a divisional rivalry on short rest between two teams who haven't gotten their offenses going really at all. Like you could argue, yeah, the Jets did last week, but I watched that game. They still didn't look great. And I think the Titans defense is probably underrated as well. But you have another team in the Patriots that they went into overtime on Sunday. So like real short rest and additional football for them. I think both teams want to run the ball. In one case, one team has to run the ball. The Patriots are running the ball at the league's 5th highest clip through the first 2 weeks. The Jets aren't, but they were playing from behind a lot early against San Francisco in week 1. I think you want to run with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen against this Patriots team for sure and chew out the clock. But you're talking about 2 quality defensive teams as well. I know this Jets defense has been suspect, but there's not a real threat from the aerial attack with Jacoby Brissett and this Patriots offense, which just makes it less of a threat overall. And there's so many injuries right here now that we have to talk about too. Like DJ Reed, CJ Mosley, Michael Carter, Jermaine Johnson looks like he's done for the year. And then the entire offensive line for the Patriots is banged up heading into Thursday. Look at it. All of them have a questionable tag. And it's no longer, you can't blame it on Bill Belichick labeling everyone as questionable. Although I'm sure Gerard Mayo has taken after him in some sense. But I'll have a video specifically for this game on Thursday with props, with everything else. We'll have a lot more information. But I'll tell you what, right now I'm looking under 38.5. I know we have a lot of low totals in these games, and that kind of makes sense. A lot of low totals with how bad the quarterbacking has been, and that's really what it comes down to. But I mean, at this number, a 21-17 game would still have us in good shape. Give me the under. And right now, we'll wait on injuries. I'm leaning Pats plus 6.5, but I'm waiting. But I like under 38.5 in this one. Broncos and the Bucks. Broncos 7-point road dogs, 40-point total. Bo Nix has been objectively bad through the first 2 weeks of his career, no doubt about it. But can we give the guy? I'm not saying give him a pass, right? What does he have? 4 interceptions and no touchdowns. So we can't give him a pass. But he's faced the Seahawks with the 12th man in Seattle, and then he had to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that game could have been a lot closer. He got picked off in the end zone, and Patrick Surtain with just a wildly uncharacteristic game with what did Surtain have? 100 yards and penalties to himself. You could also, point towards the Bucs' performance against the Lions last week if you're looking to bet the Bucs here and go, hey, listen, they beat the Lions. They beat a good Lions team. And I'd say, you know what? You're right. But there's a lot more going on under the hood, though, that we haven't talked about and we should probably discuss. And I haven't heard talked about all that much either. First of all, that's a divisional spot. Those revenge matchups are super tricky. And we learned that the hard way last week. I liked the Detroit Lions. We learned that the hard way last week. We know that, but I mean, that was crazy. Stafford threw for 300 plus yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, they had good games, but it didn't matter. A lot of mistakes. Either way, those games are unpredictable. Second, the Bucs, they're probably going to be without Vita Vea, which is huge. Kalijah Kancey's not back, and Antoine Winfield's probably going to miss as well. You might also have no Rachaad White on offense either, which can't say that's a huge deal. But if you get a Patrick Surtain that is, like the Patrick Surtain that we remember seeing outside of last week against the Steelers, I actually think the Broncos can compete. It's an ugly spot. I don't love laying 7 on the Bucs, especially with those defensive injuries. I'd lean Broncos +7 in this one. Giants at the Browns. Browns 6-point favorites, 39-point total. So 6+ point dogs have really been instant money through the first couple weeks of the season. It's nuts. Just last week, Saints smashed the Cowboys. Raiders outright against Baltimore. Vikings 5.5. So that was a 6 in some spots. Actually, I think moved down to 4.5, back up to 5.5. With the McCaffrey news, it went down to 4.5. Either way, outright win against San Francisco. The Bucs 7.5-point dogs against the Lions. Bengals 6-point dogs with a 1-point loss. Should have won had it not been for that pass interference. Even the Falcons, that was at 6 in some spots. The Falcons get the outright win. The Texans, the Bears 6.5 in some spots, lose by 6. You get the point. It's been unpredictable, no doubt about it, especially with these big favorites. I'll tell you what hasn't been unpredictable though. Touchdown props. Dude, in the tails marketplace, we hit a 5. I was so happy because I just started this community like 3 weeks ago and we're building it. And we got a great group of people over there, guys and girls. And we hit a 5-player anytime touchdown round robin and parlay. We bet it by 2s. We bet it by 3s. You see it on the screen. By 4s, we bet the 5-leg parlay. And we bet them all straight. And it was just a massive, massive day. It was awesome. Okay. We had a great week 1 there, an even better week 2. That stuff's not going to happen every week. And look, I'm not about I prefer profit over screenshots, especially we're talking props here. We're grinding our way out, but then we're also having fun with the round robins, the parlays, and all of that stuff. It's not a hype Discord. We're not just giving you 10,000s to 1s. We're giving you mostly straight bets, and then we pick our spots with the parlays, the SGPs, and the round robins. And we just so happen to hammer a huge one last week. And if you guys want to join, 50% off your first week or month. It's, look, less than $5 a week. You hate it, you bounce. Less than $15 a month. NFL24 is the promo code. Just use that link in the description or in the pinned comment. Sign up. You'll get all of the alerts straight to your phone. Get all of my early bets, a great community, and the premium Discord, which you got to jump into. So we'll see you guys over there. NFL24 for 50% off that first week or month. But let's talk about the Browns. It's a spot that just looks good to me. And how can I go, oh man, all these 6-point dogs are win. Yeah, I get it. But you know what? It's a trend right now, but it's not. Do we look at that as a sustainable trend? What are they like 8-0 or something? It's 2 weeks. And maybe this will be the case. You guys tell me. I always love to hear your thoughts in the comments, where you're at, what games, what you agree with, what you disagree with. The Cleveland Browns at home against the Giants, they have an elite pass rush. They have they're excellent in coverage. And as much as I love Malik Neighbors, I love this guy. We were on his over prop last week. We crushed that. Okay, crushed it. It wasn't even competitive. You're going to need more than him on Sunday. And Myles Garrett has a foot injury. He said he's going to play. Denzel Ward has a shoulder injury. He played through last week, albeit unlimited snaps, but he should be out there. And this Giants defense is just terrible. I mean, they may only have allowed 21 points last week, but any other team scoring more than that. Washington was in the red zone, 6 times? They kicked 7 field goals. They gave up 3 touchdowns and won that game without a touchdown. 7 field goals. It's a rookie in Jaden Daniels, though. And Washington lived in the red zone in that game. I got to tell you, if Graham Gano doesn't get hurt and if Malik Neighbors doesn't have that drop, sure, the Giants just win that game for sure. But I just really respect this Browns defense, especially at home. I mean, forget about what we saw at Dallas in week 1. If you get Jack Conklin, too, and Jedrick Wills back on the offensive line, it neutralizes the one strength, the only strength of this Giants defense. Here's what I would do. If you want to bet at -6, go for it. I think it's a good teaser spot. And you already know I'm not big on Deshaun Watson, but we did bet the Browns last week against the Jags, and they won outright. So they covered easy. You could tease this Browns on a 6-point teaser, and there's a couple teams we're going to tease it with, so stay tuned for that. Packers at the Titans. Titans 2.5-point favorites, 36.5-point total. If Jordan Love sits, I'm hitting the Titans at -2.5, but I think he's going to sit anyway, so I like the Titans here. We had the Packers as home dogs last week. I got some hate for that. How can you bet Malik Willis? It's not Malik Willis. It's Matt LaFleur and the way they coach this team, and the Colts just aren't that good. Matt LaFleur is now 33-9 at home, 24-19 on the road since 2019 with the Packers. The Colts defense, they're not good. The Titans defense can stop the run, though. And I think this might actually be a pretty underrated defense. They got L'Jarius Sneed, which is a huge deal as well. And if Will Levis could just stay out of his own way, just stay out of your own way, the Titans would be 2-0 and probably 2-0 against the spread, or 2-0 against the spread, and probably 2-0 straight up as well. They allowed 0 offensive touchdowns to Chicago, and they lost by 7. And they had a real shot of beating the Jets as well. I mean, look, the Jets won by 7, but that game never felt like it wasn't super competitive. We're getting them inside of a field goal at home after going 0-2 to start the year, 0-2 against the spread. This is assuming Love is out. I think he will be because Malik Willis is definitely a downgrade. But inside of a field goal, give me the Titans here, -2.5. Eagles at the Saints. Saints 2.5-point favorites, 49.5-point total. I'm still absolutely reeling from this game. I couldn't sleep last night, okay? You don't want to hear this. You don't give a shit. I get it. There's no reason the Eagles should have lost. It's not just that I'm an Eagles fan. I play DFS on DraftKings, and I was winning $37,000. And if Saquon Barkley caught that pass, the Falcons had no timeouts left, and I've got it. That's it, right? Like you're banking a $37,000 win. That's it. And the Eagles win. Instead, Barkley drops it. I end up profiting $50 instead of $37K. And then the Eagles lose on top of it. I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't sleep. Just the worst beat in a very long time. But again, you don't care. I needed to get it off my chest, you know? This line has moved a lot, though. I mean, at one point it was Philly -3.5, then 2.5. Before that, 2.5 before the Eagles game ended. And then goes through 0, Saints -2.5, Saints -3 in some spots, -2.5 with heavy juice. I'm trying to figure out how the Eagles stop this Saints team, honestly, particularly on the ground. They can't seal off the edge. They can't tackle. They can't do anything. It's crazy, though, because they only allowed 15 points through the first 59 minutes of that game, but it felt like they were so much worse and they allowed so much more. Then they completely unraveled and Kirk Cousins marched down the field. I know the right side is Philly here with all of this line movement. I know it is. But with A.J. Brown expected to miss another game, the Eagles defense being insanely suspect, they're getting no pressure whatsoever, and Clint Kubiak totally revitalizing the Saints offense. God, if I've been real wrong on one spot early in the season, hands down, unquestionably, I've been flat out wrong about the Saints. I know I should go Eagles here, but I'm not going to make the same mistake against the Saints I've done for the first 2 weeks. If it bites me, so be it. Everything's screaming Eagles, and you should probably take it, but I can't do it. I'm leaning Saints -2 here at home. Texans at the Vikings. All right, Vikings 2.5-point dogs in some spots, 2-point dogs in other spots. I might just have to ride the wave here and sprinkle a little on the Vikings money line at +120. I might have to do that. It's really one of my least favorite games of the week, though, especially with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, both of their statuses in question. Yeah, +120 on the money line with how well they've played to open the season. They smashed the Giants. They took care of business against the 49ers. Houston might be without Joe Mixon. I don't think that's a huge deal, but I'm recording this on Tuesday, so we don't know. It's pretty much a pass here with all of the uncertainty, but I would lean Vikings +120 because Jefferson said he should be a go. And this team, look, as silly as it sounds, they're just feeling it right now. And they're at home playing great football. And I don't know what he did. I don't know what Kevin O'Connell did, but he's got Sam Darnold playing like a fucking stud. Chargers at the Steelers. Steelers laying 1.5, 35.5-point total here. There's just no way I'm betting the Chargers if I don't know Justin Herbert's status. No chance. I bet you guys know this. I bet far more than my fair share of preseason games to know exactly what Easton Stick is about. And let me tell you, it is not good. Okay, it is not good. At this point, your best bet is to take the Steelers -1.5. Hope that Herbert's out and that line moves. If he's in, well, guess what? Now you've got a almost assuredly hobbled Justin Herbert because the guy plays through a ton of injuries, already dealing with the foot, and against an elite Steelers defense. And you're going to get closing line value on this if he doesn't play. I know he came back Sunday after getting hurt, but the dude plays through anything. And Harbaugh was saying that they're going to do more testing on him. That's not good. Steelers -1.5. And how about this? For those of you that are not for the faint of heart, under 35.5. It's such a low number, but so many of these games have been so low scoring. Just look at the Steelers. 2 defenses playing extremely well. 1 offense in Pittsburgh that's just bad, whether it's Fields or Wilson. We know that. And another one in LA that has either a hobbled quarterback or just a downright terrible one. Bears at the Colts. Colts laying 1.43.5-point total. The Bears can't protect Caleb Williams right now. That's what it comes down to for me. I'm not going to waste too much of your guys' time with this one because I already said, look, I'm not high on the Colts. It's a week-to-week situation for sure. And, we bet the Packers last week, but doesn't mean you bet the Packers every week. But I tell you, until they start protecting Caleb Williams, I'm not going to bet on the rookie on the road with no pass protection. It's been that bad. The defense has acquitted themselves well, no doubt. But there's no separation from the receivers. Williams is constantly under duress. Only Bryce Young, get this, ready? Only Bryce Young has a worse completion percentage under pressure than Williams through the first couple of weeks. And there's been no help in the run game because DeAndre Swift isn't that good, but more so, they're just getting no lanes to run through. Now, I'm not saying the Colts defense is great. We all know they aren't. But I'm not betting the rookie on the road in what's essentially a toss-up game when he has no time to throw. And when he does have time to throw, he hasn't been great either. Lean Colts -1 here. Dolphins and the Seahawks. All right. Call me crazy, but I think the Dolphins still find ways to put points on the board here and compete in this game. I really do. And if you're going to bet this, you can get them at +5 on Bet365. Shop these lines for sure. And on Bet365, you guys know, you're getting $200 in bonus bets. You bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. That is literally all you have to do. If you're in any of the states on the screen, click the link in the description or the pinned comment. I think I threw it in both with the tails. Click the link. Take you there. Takes a minute to sign up. Deposit 10, only bet 5. Even if you go, I'm going to bet a live drive in Thursday Night Football to instantly get my bonus bets. Not that I would recommend it. The moment that bet settles, the $5 bet, $200 in bonus bets in your account. And every Thursday, by the way, they've been doing get $10 in bonus bets for every single touchdown scored if you bet 50 cumulative on a same game parlay. So now for 2 straight weeks, I've done that. I've lost both of the parlays, and I've gotten every single dollar back in bonus bets because there were 5 touchdowns in each of those games. What a wonderful thing. So Bet365, get 200 in bonus bets. Got to be 21 years or older to gamble. And if you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But more than anything, collect when you can. And Bet365 is certainly the place to do it right now. You know what else is something we should do? We should legitimately consider the Dolphins because I just haven't been impressed with the Seahawks through 2 weeks. DK Metcalf was one of the guys in that touchdown parlay at +210. He was the longest odds, and we got it, which was awesome. But they still had to go to overtime in a 2020 game to beat the Pats. They let Bo Nix stay in it in his first ever game, 26-20, 2 one-score games for the Seattle Seahawks. Look, I'm not saying it's a bad team. I think Mike McDonald's great at coaching up defenses. But as long as you have guys like Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in this offense who are just absolute monsters after the catch, I think you can actually kind of hide how bad Skylar Thompson is. And I also think that people just hate betting backup quarterbacks in their first game. Like Malik Willis, perfect example. I took a ton of shit for that, and rightfully so. I get it. Could have gone the other direction. Last week, you'll hear me talk about this in a minute, but a lot of why Miami lost last week was because Tua made some terrible mistakes, right? He's going on the IR. And then James Cook went off as well. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Kenneth Walker sit again. Apparently, they're going to be very careful in getting him back with that oblique injury. So is this our gross game of the week? I think it is. Give me the Dolphins +5 in Seattle. Dolphins +5. I expect a close game here. Panthers at the Raiders. Oh, do we have to do this again? Raiders 5.5-point favorites, 40.5-point total. Man, everything is telling me that you have to take the Panthers here now that Bryce Young is benched. I mean, the Raiders are coming. Think about this, right? For those of you guys who've been betting long enough, you've seen this play out so many times. We've also seen a lot of sharps bet on the Panthers and just get absolutely bludgeoned over the past season plus. So there's that as well. Don't think that's lost on me. But we just saw the Raiders come off a massive win in Baltimore. Panthers have just been crushed in back-to-back weeks to start the season. But the problem is that this is why I just can't bring myself to get to the Panthers here. Even if Andy Dalton can patch up this offense for the time being, how is their defense going to stop anybody? They lost Brian Burns. Their secondary stinks. They can't tackle for shit. Their run defense is terrible. But amazingly, their pass blocking has been really good. Bryce Young is just that bad. So you know what? Let's have some fun. Tail this one with me. If you tail nothing else, tail this one with me. Let's hit the over here, 40.5. I mean, it kind of feels like an over spot. They're blocking well. Andy Dalton's old, but he's instantly better than Bryce Young. And They got weapons in Las Vegas and no defense in Carolina. Over 40 and a half isn't where I thought I'd end up in this game, but it's where it's going to be. Give me over 40 and a half. It's crazy. Lions minus 2.5 against the Cardinals, 52.5 point total. I think a lot of people are going to like the Cardinals after last week, and I get it. I can see it. They just trashed the Rams in a game that was never competitive from the jump. And the Lions offense, sure, they haven't clicked yet, but I just think they have so many advantages in this game. Sure, you could point towards like the intangibles for the Arizona Cardinals or whatever, but there's so many advantages that aren't being talked about. First off, the Rams offensive line is the worst in the league right now. It is abhorrent, okay? They couldn't pass block on Sunday. They couldn't run block. I watched that game because I needed a Kyren Williams touchdown like my life depended on it, and we got it, amazingly. We shouldn't have. We got lucky. But total dysfunction. And the Cardinals aren't magically just going to have a great pass rush because it looked like they did last week, especially not against this Giants O-line. You're talking elite run blocking, elite pass blocking, and on the other side, they have an absolutely killer pass rush. Look what Aiden Hutchinson's doing, okay? Their secondary might be and also the Rams don't have a pass rush at all. From top to bottom, I can't ignore these advantages. And you could say like their secondary is their biggest weakness, sure, but the pass rush can make up for a lot of that. Even if Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't play, I like the Lions here. I think I'll be on an island. I think a lot of people are going to really like the Cardinals, and that is fine by me. I just don't see how the Cardinals run the ball against the top run defense. I think Murray's going to get pressured with less time to throw. Definitely think it's high scoring, but this is the bounce back spot for the Lions. One of my favorite spots. Give me Detroit minus 2.5 on the road inside a field goal. 49ers at the Rams. Rams 7-point home dogs, 43-point total. Probably my favorite teaser spot of the week. Hear me out. I don't think Shanahan loses this game. Now, how many of us, not just me, don't lie to yourself. You can talk shit in the comments, but we all know that there were plenty of people out there last week that didn't have the Saints and the Raiders and the Falcons. And who else am I missing? All of these other huge dogs winning these games. Maybe had one or two, but there's no way that everyone just, had every single dog outright. If you had them against the spread, good for you, really. So maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't see Shanahan losing this game. The Rams O-line has been ravaged. It's not just bad, guys. It is unbelievably terrible, to put it lightly. They can't get any push for the run game. Like Kyren Williams is just going to be dead back there, basically. They can't pass block for shit. Now Cooper Kupp's about to land on the IR with Puka Nacua. The Niners aren't without injuries either. McCaffrey's on the IR. Debo's going to miss a couple weeks, but I just don't see him losing after what we saw last week, right? Like the Rams lost last week, but so did the 49ers, right? You're talking about, Super Bowl appearance last season, reigning division champs, great defense. So call it an overreaction. That's fine with me, but it was a level of dysfunction that you can't just clean up in a week if you're the Rams. And against this team and this defense, I don't see how they pull off the win. If they do, that would be one of the best coaching and very likely quarterback performances we're going to see all season, because it's going to take everything out of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford with what? Tyler Johnson, DeMarcus Robinson, Colby Parkinson. This is who we're dealing with now, and no pass blocking. You got to see where I'm coming from, right? If you want to take the Niners -7, I don't hate that either, honestly. But I love them as a teaser piece with the Bengals. We'll get to them in just a second. If you want to take that route, 7-point teaser with the Bengals looks good here. Ravens -1 against the Cowboys. Super tough game, 49-point total. Ravens are 0-2 after inexplicably dropping that home game to the Raiders. 8.5-point favorites at home in their home opener. That game was all about penalties. The Raiders committed 15 yards of penalties, right? 15 yards, and then 109 yards of penalties against the Ravens. They couldn't get out of their own way. And then you have the Cowboys, who just got absolutely blasted by the Saints in Dallas. Honestly, no matter which side you take here, it's going to feel like you're overreacting off of 1 week. I'd lean the Ravens because if they clean up the penalties, it's a different team. And if they go 0-3, it's huge trouble. They go into Buffalo next week. That's a problem. But really, the loss, maybe the loss of Mike McDonald as a DC is a bigger influence than we thought. It's a really fun game to watch. I'm not betting this one. I would lean Ravens -1. But until maybe something else, I can't bet this game right now. Chiefs minus 3.5 against the Falcons, 46.5 point total. You know what? The Chiefs winning this game by a field goal would be extremely typical Chiefs football, wouldn't it? Falcons 3.5 point dogs. I mean, week 1, Chiefs cover. Good, because we did bet them, but we probably should have lost. Isaiah Likely's toe was in the back of the end, on the line in the back of the end zone. And on Sunday, they get a 1-point victory because the Bengals committed a pass interference call or penalty on 4th down. Could have just as easily gone the other way. It's just what the Chiefs do. They can beat up on bad teams, but I don't think Atlanta is one of those bad teams. And now you've got Kirk Cousins, 2 games under his belt, didn't play at all in the preseason, hadn't played since, this surgically repaired Achilles. They probably only get better. And the defense has acquitted themselves well on top of that. Meanwhile, for Kansas City, Hollywood Brown's on the IR. He hasn't played yet. Isaiah Pacheco is headed for the IR, and Travis Kelce's been a ghost. Xavier Worthy's still a rookie. Rashee Rice is the one guy you can really trust. Honestly, Mahomes has made some mistakes as well. Don't get me wrong. Amazing interception. But who was it? The Cincinnati DB. Amazing interception. Can't put it all on Mahomes. But he's made some mistakes. Falcons look pretty good here at home. I'm not saying they win. They could lose by a field goal. I don't care. But even if maybe I'll regret it. Falcons plus 3.5 at home in this one. Sunday Night Football. All right, we got a doubleheader for Monday night. Jags and the Bills. Jags are 5.5 point dogs, 45.5 point total. I told you last week, Josh Allen dominates the Dolphins. He's now 11-1 straight up for his career. But honestly, Allen didn't even have much to do with that game. Even if Tua didn't get hurt, the Bills were going to rout them anyway. They already were. And truthfully, a lot of that win was the result of Buffalo's defense and Tua just making some really terrible decisions. Also, James Cook had a monster game. I get why the Bills are big favorites here at home. Jacksonville's looked putrid through 2 weeks. But this is why betting these spreads early in the season is so tough, because it's impossible for me to believe that Trevor Lawrence is just terrible now. Maybe they shouldn't have named the stadium Trevor Bank Stadium or whatever the fuck it is. Or that Doug Peterson has totally forgotten how to coach. I mean, they're a desperate team heading into a primetime game in a legitimate must-win spot. And there's just too much talent here, especially on offense. I'm definitely not betting the Jags money line, but think about this. They're 0-2 and the offense has been terrible. Yet they've lost these games by a combined 8 points, and they've allowed 38 total points in the process. Jags plus 5.5. Commanders at the Bengals. Bengals 7.5 point favorites, 48.5 point total. The Commanders have a lot of work to do still, and I can't buy into this team just yet. There's a bright future for Jaden Daniels, for sure. Still a ton of question marks here, and this defense still stinks, man. The Bengals, they come back home 0-2 after losing a 1-point game, heartbreaking game to the Chiefs. And I think they light Washington up. Maybe this is my worst read of the year, but I think they light them up. I've gotten plenty wrong through the first 2 weeks. I think plenty of people have. It's been an insane 2 weeks, really. It's been fun, but insane. But we're 2-0 on Bengals bets. And Washington's taking too many penalties. They're still struggling to execute. I mean, 7 field goals last week. They couldn't get it done in the red zone. And I really believe this pass defense remains bottom of the barrel status. The concern for Cincinnati is surely their defensive line injuries and their inability to stop the run. But they could be getting T. Higgins back this week. They already have what should be a quality enough passing attack. This could be the spot where Cincinnati goes, hello, we still exist. We're still making a run for the playoffs. And it could be it could be the Commanders who have to feel that wrath. Bengals minus 7.5. If you like that teaser spot, though, like I said earlier, San Francisco teaser, or you want to go 6-point teaser, get them at 1.5, and the Browns teaser on top of that. Browns would take them down to 0, down to a pick 'em. That's a spot I'm absolutely willing to get behind. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out for the entire video. If you made it this far, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit me up at Loughy_D on Twitter, and remember, NFL 24, yeah, man, 50% off your first week or month. Get you in with an awesome community, all the early bets, and we've been ripping them lately with some huge ones. Maybe it keeps it up for one more week. Anyway, we'll see you over there. Peace.